Hey guys, welcome back to Woods and Wrenches. Today we're going to be taking the 350Z up to the dyno and seeing how much power it puts out. I'm going to go ahead and get the silencer out of this exhaust. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the air-fuel ratio relearn real fast, and then we'll head up there. So here we go. Anybody who's familiar with the Tomei exhaust will have noticed that I had two extra screws in mine. I noticed that the one that's provided just doesn't provide enough stability to hold it in there without it moving around and rattling. So I went ahead and put two extra holes in mine and ran two extra screws, and that way it didn't rattle and there was less leak by, and it just sounded better when I was done. So now I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, make sure it's up to temperature. We'll unplug the MAF sensor, run it for a couple seconds, shut it off, check for codes, make sure we've got the one that we're looking for. I believe it's P0102. We'll delete it, fire it up, let it run for 10 minutes, and then we'll get out of here. So that's what we're doing next. So the way the air-fuel ratio relearn works is you fire up your car, let it come up to temperature, shut it off, disconnect the MAF sensor, turn and start your car again, let it run for at least 3 seconds, shut the car off, turn it on enough to be able to check the code, make sure it is that P0102, clear the code. Sorry, the door shut, scared the shit out of me. So then you clear that P0102 code, then you plug the MAF sensor back in, and you fire it up and you let it run for a minimum of 10 minutes. And what it's going to do during that 10 minutes is it's going to run the RPMs up and down a little bit. It's going to blip the throttle a little bit. And what it's doing is it's getting a baseline for the air-fuel ratio, because essentially when you're doing that, you're letting it know, hey, we did something different. You should do it every time you mess with the intake, anytime you mess with the exhaust. So us pulling that silencer out changes the back pressure pretty good. And so we want to do the air-fuel relearn so that way the car responds correctly with that silencer being pulled out. And then we'll drive all the way up there, let the car learn really good for the next hour, and then by the time we get there, we should be getting good data from it. So we're going to let it run for 10 minutes and then make sure it's good, shut it off, start it back up, and then we'll take off. So. Well, going to the dyno was a pretty successful day today. We were able to get a good baseline on what the car is doing. We found out that we're getting about 242 horsepower and 201 foot-pounds of torque at the hubs, because the dyno we were on was a hub dyno. And then, so we did 4 total pulls today. We did 2 fourth gear pulls with the silencer out. We did 1 fifth gear pull just to see how it would do. And then we threw the silencer back in for the last pull in 4th gear. And it was pretty surprising the difference with the silencer out versus the silencer in. So for the top horsepower with the silencer out was 242, with it in was 230. So that's 12 horsepower loss on the top end. Where it was really interesting was down low in the 50 mile an hour range. We actually saw an 18 horsepower loss on the bottom end with the silencer in. And looking at the horsepower and torque curves, it was pretty impressive just how different those curves looked with the silencer in. So got good data logs to send off. I'm gonna get those to him in email real quick, and then hopefully here in a couple weeks we'll get a new tune to throw on the car. I'm fairly certain that the cats are what's really strangling our power right now. It should be higher than that. Even with a hub dyno, it should be slightly higher. Not too worried about it right now because we're still in the early stages of tuning, and so hopefully when he sends us the new tune to throw on there, we'll see a little bit more horsepower and gain. Because I don't know if you've never experienced the way e-tuning works, is you pretty much tell them what vehicle you have, what modifications you've put on the car, and then they just send you a new tune to put on the car. And then you're supposed to do either a 0 to 60 pull with data logging, or you're supposed to do a third gear pull to red line. And then you can go through and actually see how your car's performing and get a much better tune on it. So from what I've seen, it's the second or third round tune that actually gets you what you're looking for. So one, it was good to see where the car is performing, and then two, we've got the good data now to send off. So wrap it up there for today. Thanks for coming along. Like and subscribe. If you have anything to throw in the comments, I will get back to them. Again, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.